If you've spent any time tracking a competitive meta, you've seen it happen. Innovation just, it leaves these classic strategies behind.
Oh, absolutely. The game gets faster, power creep is a real thing, and what used to be a powerhouse just feels, well, completely outdated.
It's like bringing a dial-up modem to a fiber optic LAN party.
That's a perfect analogy. The challenge for these legacy decks is that their core ideas are still strong, but they just don't have the speed or resilience for the modern game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is why today we're doing a deep dive into what I think is a truly remarkable strategic resurrection. We're talking about the Monarchs.
A fan favorite for sure.
For sure. And for anyone out there who wants to know not just what's good, but the deep, intricate why, this one's for you, we're going to unpack how just a few support cards completely reset an archetype's viability.
Right. Our mission today is to look at the source material and really break down the synergy of 5 key cards that solve the Monarch's biggest problems. It's really a masterclass in card design.
Okay, so let's get into this comeback story. The whole philosophy of Monarchs was always this oppressive control, right?
Yeah.
You tribute summon these big bosses.
And lock your opponent out of their extra deck. Yeah, that's always been the core strength.
It's a great identity. But for years, the execution was just fatally flawed.
The idea was scary, but the deck's actual speed, its consistency, it just couldn't keep up with modern combo decks that put up huge boards on turn 1.
So the new support had a pretty massive job to do.
A brutal assignment, really. It had to solve 3 huge, long-standing flaws at the same time, or Monarchs were going to stay in the competitive basement.
All right, so before we get to the fixes, we have to diagnose the engine failure. What were these long-standing issues that held Monarchs back for so long?
Well, based on all the historical analysis, the issues were basically threefold, and they all fed into each other. First was just painfully slow setup.
You needed specific monsters on the field just to get started.
Exactly. You needed tribute fodder.
Yeah.
And in modern Yugioh, if your opponent is building a board with 3 negates on turn 1 while you're still trying to find your second monster, the game's over.
And that slowness leads directly to the second problem, right?
Precisely. The second issue was crippling inconsistency. Monarchs were famous for being brick-prone.
The dreaded brick hand.
Yeah. If you didn't draw the perfect mix of a big Monarch boss and the little guys to tribute, you just had these high-level monsters stuck in your hand, completely useless.
Which makes the whole strategy fundamentally fragile.
Absolutely. And then the third problem, and maybe the biggest one against the current meta, was its limited interaction.
It was too reactive.
Way too reactive. Old Monarchs were great if they got to set up, but they had almost no way to stop an opponent's turn 1 combo before it even got started.
So the new support needed to add speed, consistency, and disruption, all while leaning into that extra deck lock. It's a tall order.
It's more than just synergy. These cards are like an integrated system. They didn't just patch holes, they changed the deck's entire operating system.
Okay, let's jump in. Let's look at the first 2 monsters that tackle that inconsistency and speed problem head on. First up is Eidos the Underworld Monarch.
Right, and the sources describe it as the deck's central consistency and grind tool. That combination is key.
So it solves short-term and long-term problems. What makes it so good?
Well, what's fascinating is how much it does with just one summon. When you summon Eidos, it searches any key Monarch card. That immediately fixes the consistency problem.
Wait, any key Monarch card, so not just another monster? You mean spells and traps, too?
Exactly. That's the breakthrough. If you already have your tribute play lined up, you can search for a spell like the Monarch's Master Plan. If you need protection, you grab a trap. It shifts the deck from relying on luck of the draw to being search-based, which is, the hallmark of any competitive deck.
Okay, but I see something else here about Eidos. Attribute manipulation. Why is that such a big deal for a tribute summon deck?
That's a detail that a lot of people might miss, but it's competitively crucial. The Mega Monarchs, the big bosses, they need a monster of a specific attribute tributed to get their most powerful effects.
Ah, I see.
Eidos can change its attribute in the graveyard, so you can always make sure you have the right material to unlock the full power of a Mega Caius or a Mega Reza. It's like quality control for your boss monsters.
And then there's the grind tool part.
Yeah.
It recycles itself.
Yeah, and that provides sustained advantage. Normally, when you tribute 2 monsters, you weigh down a card, but Eidos just comes right back to your hand or field from the graveyard. It means your tribute cost is constantly being reduced.
It turns these big one-off summons into a self-sustaining engine.
That's it exactly. You spend 2 resources, but immediately get 1 back.
Okay, so Eidos gives us consistency and resources. Now the second monster that cranks up the speed.
Yeah.
Tessera, the Origin Squire.
Tessera is the modernized Squire. It's built for speed, directly addressing that flaw we talked about. The old Squires were just too slow, too easy to stop.
It mentions free special summons, which sounds a little counterintuitive for a tribute deck, doesn't it?
That's a sharp point, and the design is really clever about it. Tessera mitigates that risk. It often lets you special summon after something else resolves, so there's a smaller window for your opponent to disrupt you. It's about being fast, but not reckless.
So how do Tessera and Eidos work together then?
They're a perfect pair. Eidos searches for your strategy cards, the spells, and traps. Tessera searches for your materials.
The tribute fodder.
Right. It guarantees you can get a low-level enabler like Idea straight from the deck. If you have Tessera, you will be able to tribute summon that turn. The two of them together basically eliminated the Monarch block.
So the engine's reliable, it's fast.
Yeah.
Now we get to the spells that give you the right answer at the right time. The Monarch's Master Plan and the Monarch's Revolt.
Right, and the goal of these spells is to let you be tactical. Monarchs used to be about drawing the right boss. Now you search for the boss that beats whatever your opponent is doing.
How do they work together to do that?
They're all about recycling and tutoring. Master Plan sets up your graveyard by sending a Monarch spell or trap there from your deck.
So you're preloading your resources.
Exactly. And then when you tribute summon, it recycles 2 of those cards right back to your hand.
That's incredible resource recovery. Where does Revolt come in?
Revolt is your immediate disruption. It lets you reveal a Monarch in your hand to immediately special summon a Monarch monster from your graveyard.
Give you instant tribute fodder on your opponent's turn, maybe.
Or reviving a key utility piece.
Yeah.
By combining Master Plan's recycling with Revolt's instant summon, you have the perfect timing to drop a game-winning boss.
And you get to cherry pick which one. What are the classic threats this enables?
Well, say your opponent has one really problematic card on the field. You search for Caius the Shadow Monarch to banish it.
Or a set card you're worried about.
And then there's a really destructive one.
Zaborg the Mega Monarch.
Absolutely. The biggest application of this engine is setting up Zaborg. If you tribute a light monster for him, which Eidos can help you do, his effect lets both players rip cards out of their extra deck.
And you can hit 8 of their cards, just dismantling your entire strategy before it even starts.
It is devastating. The takeaway here is the deck no longer hopes to draw the right Monarch. It will summon the Monarch that ends the opponent's turn.
Okay, we've solved slowness, inconsistency, and targeted access. But against today's meta, how do Monarchs stop an opponent from just playing through one tribute summon?
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, maybe the most game-changing card of them all. Monarchic Perfection.
This sounds important.
This is the card that turns Monarchs into a true control powerhouse. Before this, the control was passive. You put a Monarch on board and hoped. Now it's active and it's punitive.
What makes it so oppressive against those extra deck strategies?
It enforces the original Monarch philosophy, but with the constant tax. It's a continuous trap. Every time your opponent special summons while you control a tributed monster, it triggers.
And since the meta is all about chaining special summons.
It triggers constantly. It puts this debilitating cost on every single move your opponent makes.
Okay, so let's be specific. What's a punishment? What does perfection actually do?
It gives you options. When it triggers, you can choose to, say, destroy a face-up card they control. Or you can make them discard a card from their hand.
Wow. So it forces them into an impossible choice.
It's the definition of control. Do I continue my combo and lose a key card from my hand, or do I just stop my turn right here? They have to play the game on your terms.
And they lose card advantage just for trying to play their own deck.
Precisely. It makes the extra deck a liability. Every time they use it, they lose resources. It's brilliant.
Let's bring this all together. It's an amazing comeback. You've got Eidos for the consistent resource loop. You have Tessera for the speed and the tribute fodder.
Then Master Plan and Revolt let you find the exact right boss for any situation.
And finally, Monarchic Perfection provides that constant, oppressive control you need to actually stop a modern combo deck in its tracks.
The whole field becomes a minefield for any extra deck play.
The transformation is really complete. These 5 cards turned it into a consistent, oppressive control deck that specifically preys on the exact strategies dominating the game.
So to recap, Monarchs were plagued by slowness, inconsistency, and a lack of interaction. Eidos and Tessera fixed the engine, Master Plan and Revolt made it tactical, and Monarchic Perfection gave it the firepower to compete.
It's just a phenomenal example of surgical support. The cards didn't just give the deck a boost. They strategically addressed every single flaw in the original design.
Which creates a really interesting dynamic in the meta, you know? It puts a real check on what we've called extra deck supremacy for years.
And that brings us to our final provocative thought for you to explore. The Monarch strategy is back, and it's built to consistently shut down the extra deck. So what does this resurgence mean for the future design of these big, expensive, extra deck-focused strategies? Especially knowing that one of the game's original boss decks is back to enforce the limits of special summoning. Something for you to mull over next time you're looking at the meta.